Welcome to Tales from the Cryptic. We're all about the eerie and unexplainable. And today, we're diving into stories straight from our subscribers. If you've got a chilling school story of your own, don't forget to drop it in the comments below and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out when we share it. Now, let's dive into our first subscriber's unnerving tale. Have you ever wondered about the mysterious happenings in a classroom after everyone has departed for the day? Possibly it's a common thought, one that flutters in and out of the mind as fast as a fleeting dream. Maybe it's a question that often arises in your mind, as it does in the minds of many. The idea of a classroom, a place so familiar and bustling with life during the day, becoming a playground of secrets and mysteries after the shutting of doors, might seem peculiar to some, and yet inexplicably intriguing to others. This is not just any story, but an account narrated by one of our very own subscribers. A tale that involves the ordinary and the extraordinary, with the setting being a classroom, a place known to all yet unknown in its night-bound solitude. A place where the day's noise is replaced by silence so profound that it makes the heartbeats echo like thunderous drumbeats. The shift from day to night marked by a transformation that's both fascinating and eerie, turning the familiar into the strange, the known into the mysterious. The narrator, a student, found themselves in this peculiar situation, left alone in this realm of shadows and echoing silence. As the last stragglers of the day departed, the ticking of the clock became more pronounced, each second echoing in the now empty space, amplifying the emptiness and solitude. The laughter and chatter that usually filled the room were now replaced with whispers of the wind, filtering and crevices, a haunting melody that toyed with their nerves. They lingered, drawn by curiosity, fascinated by the silence that had blanketed the room. Every sound was amplified, every shadow seemed to hide a secret. The lone desk at the corner, which was usually unnoticed in the daytime chatter, now stood out, bathed in the faint glow of the moonlight seeping in through the window. The blackboard, usually filled with equations and diagrams, now stared back as a dark, empty canvas. As the wind outside howled, creating a symphony with the rustling leaves, it seemed as though the classroom was whispering its hidden tales to the lone listener. Every object seemed to take on a life of its own. The chalk, once a mere tool in the hands of a teacher, now cast long, spooky shadows on the blackboard. The forgotten textbooks, left behind in the rush of the day, now seemed to whisper forgotten lessons. The wooden desks and chairs, stripped of their usual occupants, creaked and groaned eerily under the weight of the silence. Our subscriber, our brave storyteller, wandered about the room, each step echoing around the eerie space. Slowly, the reality of the situation began to sink in. The once familiar classroom had transformed into a stage for the strange and the supernatural. The everyday objects, usually so mundane, now seemed to be imbued with an eerie energy, almost as though they were alive. Fear began to creep in, replacing the initial curiosity. The room was no longer a sanctuary of learning. It had become a labyrinth of shadows and eerie noises. Yet, even amidst the growing fear, there was a strange sense of exhilaration, a thrill of the unknown. It was no longer a classroom in the traditional sense. It was a labyrinth of untold stories, secrets, and half-formed tales that came alive in the twilight. However, the thrill soon gave way to a chilling realization. The classroom, in the absence of its usual occupants, seemed to be housing entities of its own. With every passing moment, the room took on a more sinister character. The shadows seemed to move, the wind howled with a vengeance, and the moonlight seemed to cast an eerie glow on everything. A time when they lingered behind, and the classroom after dark took on a more sinister life of its own. Next, we have a story from a subscriber who stumbled upon an old, unused locker at the end of the hall. This was no ordinary subscriber, for they were an explorer at heart, embarking on small adventures in the quotidian realm of their existence. Their life was a series of anecdotes sprinkled with serendipity and mystery, a tapestry woven with threads of curiosity and the thrill of the unexpected. This day was no different, as they walked towards the end of the hall, an ordinary journey which was about to culminate in an extraordinary discovery. The hall was a long, daunting stretch, flanked by rows of lockers on either side, Each locker had its own tale to tell, tales of forgotten items and tokens of memories left behind. This sea of metallic cuboids, one particular locker stood out. It was old, weathered with time and disuse, its paint peeling off to reveal the rust underneath. The sight of the locker aroused a sense of intrigue in our subscriber. It was like an unopened book, untouched by the hands of time, waiting for someone to come and unravel its story. Their curiosity piqued. They felt an irresistible urge to explore lay inside. With a sense of trepidation, they approached the locker and pulled open the rusty door. As it creaked open, the dust of years rose in a cloud, making them cough. Once the dust settled, they peered inside, their eyes adjusting to the darkness. What they saw made their hearts skip a beat. There, in the depths of the locker, was an old, weathered diary. The diary looked like it had been through a lifetime of experiences. Its pages were yellowed with age, each one bearing the mark of time. The leather cover was cracked and worn, the color faded from years of exposure. Despite its dilapidated state, held an allure, a magnetic pull that beckoned our subscriber to explore further. Holding their breath, they picked up the diary, its pages rustling under their touch. They could almost feel the echoes of the past that the pages held. Gently opening the diary, they began to read. The entries in the diary were more than just words on a page. They were a haunting story, a narrative that transcended the boundaries of time. As they delved deeper into the diary, they found themselves lost in a world of personal histories and forgotten experiences. The diary's tales were not for the faint-hearted. They were stories that sent shivers down their spine, narratives that resonated with familiarity. The handwriting was shaky, as if written in a state of fear or desperation. The words painted vivid pictures of events that were hauntingly surreal. Each entry was a cryptic puzzle, a secret waiting to be unveiled. But the most startling revelation of all was yet to come. As they turned the pages, they found something that made their blood run cold. There, on the inside cover of the diary, was a name that rang a bell, a name that was eerily familiar. It was a name they saw every day, a name that echoed in their ears, a name they responded to. It was a name that was their own. Our third story is from a subscriber who found themselves alone in the school library one late afternoon. The hush of the day had given way to the quiet murmur of evening, the last vestiges of sunlight painting the world in a warm glow that was beginning to fade. The corridors were bathed in a comfortable silence, broken only by the occasional chirping of a bird, the rustling of leaves in the nearby trees, or the distant hum of a passing car. The subscriber was a regular reader, no stranger to the library's labyrinth of bookshelves and the quiet sanctuary it provided. But this late afternoon was different, the faint chill in the air and the unusual emptiness setting the tone for an experience that would be forever etched in their memory. In the librarian's place, they encountered something they couldn't quite believe at first: a spectral. It was not the usual sight of the hard-working librarian, the one with the spectacles perched on her nose and a smile as comforting as a warm cup of cocoa on a winter day. Instead, standing behind the counter was an ethereal figure, cloaked in shadows. They could make out the familiar silhouette of the librarian, but the form was translucent, an apparition, a spectral librarian. This spectral librarian did not speak in the conventional sense. Instead, its voice was like a cool wind, whispering the shelves, rustling the pages of the books. It was a language not spoken by human beings, but understood by all who listened. It was the language of mystery and secrets, curiosity and adventure, a language that spoke directly to the heart of every reader. The spectral librarian then began to move, gliding effortlessly between the tightly packed shelves. The subscriber watched in awe, their heart pounding as they followed the spectral figure. They were led to a secluded corner of the library, a section that had always seemed strictly off-limits. Here they found a collection of books that seemed out of place in a school library. They looked older, their time-worn covers etched with symbols and images that hinted at tales of magic, mysticism, and the supernatural. The books were like a window to another world, a world hidden behind the ordinary facade of the school library. As they reached out to touch the spines of these books, a curious thing happened. The books whispered to them. Their whispers were not like the spectral librarians. Instead, they were a symphony of ancient knowledge and forbidden power. They spoke in hushed tones, their words dancing in the air like tiny sparks, igniting a fire of curiosity in the subscriber's mind. The books whispered stories of ancient civilizations, of lost cities buried under the sand and great battles fought in the name of honor and glory. They whispered of great men and women, of heroes and villains, their tales intertwined like the threads of a grand tapestry. They spoke of magic, of powers beyond human comprehension, unexplored by man. But with every whisper, they could also hear the spectral librarian's warning echo in their mind. It was a gentle reminder, an insistent murmur that spoke of the importance of respect, of the delicate balance between knowledge and power, curiosity and caution. It was a message that echoed throughout the library, a chorus of whispers that sang a solemn song of responsibility. In that late afternoon, in the heart of the school library, the subscriber had found more than just a collection of books. They had discovered a magical world hidden within the mundane, a world filled with whispers of ancient knowledge and forbidden power. It was an experience that would forever remain etched in their memory, a story that they would carry with them for a lifetime. These spine-chilling encounters remind us that schools aren't just places of learning. They can also be a hotbed of the unknown and the eerie. If you've got a story of your own, make sure to leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out when we share your tale. Until then, keep exploring the cryptic side of life.